Blue is the newest entrance on our market, listing earlier today at 20 cents per share. So as the name suggests, the company is focused on cobalt, a necessary metal for the production of the latest generation high-density lithium-ion batteries. Cobalt Blue's main project is just outside of Broken Hill in New South Wales. And for more, we're joined by CEO Joe Katarevec. Joe, welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Nadine. It's great to be here.
And congratulations.
Thank you. It's been a good day.
Yeah, talk to our viewers, I guess, about why and where the real promise comes through for the company.
Sure. As you mentioned, our primary asset is the Thackeringa Cobalt project just outside of Broken Hill. The promise really is in multiple parts. It's a very strong idea that we have. Firstly, it's a very large-scale deposit. In global terms, we hope to drill out enough resource to support a top 5 global production business within the next 6 months in terms of drilling. Secondly, it's very low cost. That proximity to Broken Hill provides us with availability of people, of power, of water, and all those other costs that typically drive the bottom line of mining companies. Thirdly, it's the nature of the ore body is very shallow and easy to mine, so and doesn't have many nasties in the ore body itself. It's a very clean ore body, so it's a very sustainable, long-duration project. We're hoping the project can bring significant prosperity, not just to Broken Hill, but also to the Greater West.
So who do you sell this mineral to?
Sure. Over half of the world's cobalt goes into the lithium-ion battery market, as you mentioned earlier. But to get it from a state where we sell it to a battery-ready state, there's a number of intermediate hands. So we would process it on site, potentially furnace it off-site, and that will then feed into cathode mass makers. These are companies that make battery electrodes, and then from the electrodes will be made the final battery. And then a further step from those batteries then to install it into, say, an iPad or a tablet phone or larger applications such as solar batteries or electric vehicles.
Is cobalt found all around the world, or is it something that's quite specific to Australia?
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, there's a lot of cobalt in the Earth's crust, a bit like aluminium, just that the economic projects are few and far between. In terms of where it's located, over 60% of the world's cobalt actually comes out of one country in the Congo in Africa.
Yes.
Australia is quite blessed. We're about number 2 or 3 in the world in cobalt resource, but we have underswung our weight in cobalt, largely because the bulk of cobalt produced globally is a byproduct. It's a byproduct of copper or nickel. So when those prices are down, cobalt production tends to suffer.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but cobalt has actually been linked to the destruction of some habitat for African animals. I can't remember if it's gorillas or orangutans, but that is where it's sort of sticking out in my mind. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely right. Look, one of our positives is that we're a sustainable business. We're looking to be part of that sustainable sourcing chain for some of the manufacturers. In contrast, about 10% of the world's production, so about 10,000 tonne a year, is subject to artisanal methods where they're mining in villages. They're typically exploitive processes and they have quite significant negative environmental impacts. So overall, the West is trying to wean itself from that source of production. That's
great. So is that one of your sort of main marketing, for lack of a better term, kicks when you're marketing your products?
Look, I think so. I think experienced investors would gauge us on our size and our economics, which I've touched on, but also would want to know that we're going to be in business a long time, and the sustainability of our operation, the fact that we're a clean producer, I think bodes very well as well.
And you talked about the long duration of this mine outside of Broken Hill. You know, will you look beyond that to do exploration, or give us some sort of a time frame for that resource?
Sure. The next 3 years for us, and given today was listing day, it's a mandate for us. The next 3 years is all about drilling out and proving via feasibility to scale of what we have at Thackeringa. I mean, by middle of the year, we'll have about 80,000 tonne of contained cobalt below the ground. Compare that to the global market, which is about 100,000 tonnes, so it's a big chunk of cobalt. So the near-term focus is very much on Thackeringa and developing Thackeringa sustainably. The longer-term focus may well be to opportunistically add to that portfolio.
And what kind of a price does cobalt fetch? I believe it's measured in pounds, is it?
Yeah, it's one of those odd metals which is both metric and imperially measured.
Okay.
The major market globally is the London Metals Exchange, and all things British, it's measured in US dollars per imperial pound, and the latest pricing is around $16 a pound.
And what has the trend been?
Oh, look, it's had a heck of a ride. So we had a very strong cobalt market back in 2008. Then since that period, because of a lot of nickel and copper production in process, we've had a glut of cobalt, which the market's now eaten through. Today, we're up 70-odd% on a year view. So we're up from $8 back 2 years ago to $10, $11 back last year. Now we're back up, as I said, to $16 a pound. And I think really on a multi-decade view, this could be a very interesting story.
Okay, and just finally, balance sheet, and what are you using the funds raised for? Just clarify that for us.
Sure. Look, we're a highly fit-for-purpose vehicle, so we have access to the asset. We've got about $9.5 million of cash once we get through the IPO process. We're fit for purpose in the sense of we have an accelerated 3-year feasibility coming up, and so shareholders can expect a conveyor belt of strong news flow. So by mid-2019, we'll be at project finance stage and decision to mine, and at that stage, it's a matter of going ahead and building and commissioning.
Well, that's great. Joe, congratulations on the debut today, and we look forward to chatting in the future.
That's my pleasure. Thank you.
Cobalt Blue CEO Joe Katarevec joining us there.